Thank you, Mr. Agnew.
Thank you, Commissioner, for your commitment to simplification, and this is something that we could hold you account to in a year or so. The next little subject I want to mention is going to stretch your loyalties a little bit, because the British dairy farmers are really upset that so much Irish milk is coming into Britain and the customer is unable to distinguish which is British and which is Irish. But you are a commissioner, you should forget where you came from. On the organic farming rules, in the UK, we don't really need a change. This is a sector that's grown up, it's a niche, it's got a small market, about 4%, and the rules are there, they are adhered to by the organic farmers. We all have to live under one sky, and I'm not happy at all about the proposals. The Groceries Supply Chain Code of Practice in Britain, with its adjudicator, is working reasonably well. Again, we just don't want interference in this from the Commission, but we're quite happy for other countries to follow our lead. We're not going to brand that. A really big problem we have in the arable sector is the loss of active ingredients in our pesticides. We've actually lost 430 ingredients in the last 13 years, leaving less than half of that. If we're not allowed to grow GM crops, we really do have to make use of the alternative, which are pesticides. And if they're taken away from us, we're reduced to being organic farmers and not having enough to eat. The last time I spoke to you, the Greens... Can I have some extra time, Chairman? The Greens are interrupting me. Commissioner, Pushti. Commissioner, may I repeat my invitation to you to come to the eastern counties of England, pleased to see some serious arable farming and look at the problems we've got with the neonicotinoid ban, which means more and more spraying with insecticides. Is that really what you want, Greens? And also, finally, would you mind coming to the Tate and Isle sugar refinery on the Thames, because your legislation is killing them and their 850 jobs. Thank you. And thank you for the interruptions, Green Party.
Mr Agnew, I certainly never cease to be amazed at the fact that a UK MP would want labelling of milk products. I didn't think that you'd want interference in the European Union at all in relation to controlling the market in relation to labelling of those products. Milk flows from north to south in the island of Ireland, but maybe after a chat with Mr Nicholson, milk might be flowing back from south to north. I think we might need a single common agricultural policy for the island of Ireland. I know Mr Carty might agree with me on that one. But in relation to organics, there is certainly a lot of discussion taking place in relation to organics. I have indicated my willingness to work with Mr Howsing, the rapporteur, and the shadow rapporteurs in this committee to advance this particular proposal. I don't see why we should throw out all of the work that has been done this year already, a significant amount of working groups. I hear 3 or 4 member states, in particular at Council, expressing some concerns. I am going to meet, and I have already engaged in some conversations with some of those countries that have concerns, including I'm visiting the Netherlands next week, and I will discuss that issue further. But I am hopeful that, rather than throwing out the proposal that we have worked hard, and you have worked hard to come to at this stage, that we can improve. And I am willing to be flexible with the help of the rapporteur and the shadow rapporteurs here in this Parliament to improve the proposal. And I am more familiar, obviously, since I became Commissioner, of the concerns of some Member States, and I think we can make progress. And I'd ask for some goodwill on that particular organics matter, because I think at the end of the day, if you can reduce the administrative burden, if you can harmonise the rules, I think that should be good for the people that are involved in the organics business, and as well as maintaining the integrity of what organics is about, and rather than actually doing anything that would do to deteriorate it. So organics is something that I would like to put. Now, obviously, the work programme of the Commission is to be approved in the next 2 weeks. So organics hopefully will be on the list of issues that I will be promoting in the context of our work programme for 2015 as well. So in relation to sugar and Tate and Lyle, these are important issues, but perhaps rather than take up the meeting in relation to sugar reforms in respect to a specific company, I certainly will be glad to have a conversation with you, Mr Agnew, in relation to that in the near future. The loss of ingredients in arable land, I certainly would be delighted to have a conversation with you about that as well. And about visiting places, I haven't come to too many conclusions about where I'm going yet, but I'm going to the Netherlands before Christmas.